Our next Reddit post is from our relationship_advice. I'm a 38-year-old man, and my 36-year-old wife just ruined my staycation, and I'm trying not to lose it. I work a very demanding job. There are very few times during the year when I get the luxury to take a few days off for myself. When I come home from work, between cooking dinner, doing dishes, and handling chores around the house, I get maybe 2 hours a day to relax. My wife gets upset if I don't spend all that time with her, so I don't get to watch my shows, play my games, or read my books. I've told her many times that I need time to relax and do things that I enjoy, and she always agrees, but within minutes, she's back giving me new things to do or pulling me into her plans. 2 months ago, I finally asked my boss if I could take a week off between Christmas and New Year's. It's a slow week, and we made arrangements so I could truly disconnect. I told my wife this would be my me time, a week to relax, de-stress, and catch up on everything I love. She seemed supportive, even happy for me. But then, this weekend, she told me she'd scheduled chimney cleaners for Wednesday because I'd be home, and handed me a list of chores. Go to Home Depot, clean the yard, pick up groceries, go through the basement boxes, and organize everything. I politely told her I wouldn't be doing any of those things. This week was about self-care and taking a break. I thought she understood, but I was wrong. The next morning, I woke up ready to finally relax, coffee in hand. Game controller ready, when my wife stormed into the room holding that same to-do list. She said, "If you have time to play games, you have time to help me." I reminded her this was my only week in months to decompress. But she just glared and said I was being selfish. So I ignored her and put on my headphones. Big mistake. For the next few days, she made it her mission to ruin my so-called staycation. She'd schedule deliveries, start loud chores near my office, and constantly ask for quick favors that somehow took hours. By midweek, I snapped. I told her I couldn't live like this, that I felt trapped in my own home. She called me dramatic and said, "You're acting like I'm trying to murder your vacation." And honestly, that's exactly how it felt. But what happened next? Let's just say things escalated far beyond ruined relaxation. And it made me question if this relationship could even survive. Stay tuned, because this relationship_advice post takes a shocking turn you won't believe. For the first time in months, I finally felt free. No deadlines, no meetings, no constant stress from work. Just a week to myself. Or at least, that's what I thought. The morning after I told my wife I wouldn't be doing her list, I woke up to the sound of loud knocking. The chimney cleaners she'd scheduled had arrived. Right at 7 bleary-eyed. I stumbled downstairs only to find her standing there with a satisfied smile. "Since you're up," she said, "you can supervise them while I run a few errands." Supervise them? I wasn't even dressed yet. Still, I sighed, figuring maybe once they were done, I could get back to my staycation. But that was only the beginning. By noon, my phone was buzzing with texts from her. "Can you grab the groceries? Did you check the basement boxes? I left the laundry half done. Could you finish it?" Every message chipped away at my patience. I ignored a few, then finally turned my phone face down. I told myself, no, this week is for me. A few hours later, I went to make lunch, but the kitchen was a mess. Dirty dishes piled up like she hadn't touched them all morning. A sticky note on the counter read, "You said you'd clean this week anyway." That's when I felt it. That boiling pressure behind my eyes. Not anger, not really. Just exhaustion that had nowhere left to go. I walked to my office, shut the door, and told myself to tune everything out. I put on my headset, loaded up my favorite game, and tried to lose myself in something peaceful. But peace didn't last long. The door burst open mid-match. She stood there, arms crossed, voice sharp enough to slice the air. "You're really going to sit there while the house is falling apart?" I froze. falling apart. You made the mess, I said quietly. Her voice rose, dripping with accusation. You never help. You say you're tired, but I'm the one who holds everything together while you just escape. That word, escape, hit like a slap. Because yes, maybe I was trying to escape from the noise, from the demands, from feeling like every second of my life belonged to someone else. I stood up, trying to keep my voice steady. This isn't about chores, I said. It's about me needing space. You said you understood that. Her expression hardened. Space? You mean time away from your wife? From your responsibilities? She stormed off before I could respond, slamming the door so hard a picture frame fell off the wall. For the next day and a half, we barely spoke. She gave me the silent treatment, walking past me like I didn't exist. The house felt colder. Even my me time felt poisoned by the tension. Then came Friday. I was halfway through reorganizing my office, something I actually wanted to do, when she appeared in the doorway again. Her tone was eerily calm. If you're so desperate for space, she said, maybe you should take permanent time off from this marriage. I blinked. What are you saying? She shrugged, like she was talking about the weather. Maybe we need a break. You seem happier without me around. It was manipulative, but part of me felt numb. I didn't want a fight. I wanted peace. So I said quietly, maybe you're right. Maybe some time apart would help. Her face changed instantly, shock, then fury. Oh, so that's it? You're just giving up. The argument exploded from there. She accused me of not loving her, of being selfish, of turning into someone she didn't recognize. I told her she was controlling, that I couldn't breathe anymore in my own house, and then, silenced. She turned and walked out, grabbed her coat, slammed the door, and drove off. The sound of her car fading down the street was both terrifying and relieving. For the first time that week, I stood in a quiet house. No noise, no chaos, just emptiness. I sat down on the couch, staring at the wall, wondering how things had spiraled this far. It wasn't supposed to be like this. A staycation was meant to heal me, not break my marriage apart. I texted her once that evening, please come home so we can talk. No reply. By midnight, I noticed she hadn't taken her phone charger or overnight bag. She wasn't planning to leave. She wanted me to feel it, and I did. Because in trying to get time for myself, I might have just lost the one person I thought I was working so hard for. Still, a part of me couldn't ignore the truth. This wasn't all on me. Something deeper was wrong between us. And as I sat there, replaying every word, every slammed door, every sigh of frustration, one thought kept echoing in my mind. If she can't respect my peace, what kind of love is that? The next morning, the sound of her key turning in the door snapped me out of my thoughts. She was back, but something about the look in her eyes told me this wasn't going to be a calm reunion. When she walked back into the house, I expected anger, but what I saw instead was emptiness. Her eyes were red, her shoulders slumped, like she'd been crying for hours. She didn't say a word at first, just dropped her keys on the counter, took a deep breath, and whispered, I didn't go to my sister's. I just drove around. I stayed silent, unsure if speaking would make things better or worse. Then she looked up, her voice trembling. Do you really think I ruined your life that much? That question cut deeper than any argument we'd had all week. I took a step closer, trying to find the right words. It's not that you ruin it, I said quietly. It's that I don't feel like I have control over any part of it anymore. Every minute feels planned for me, even when I'm supposed to rest. She turned away, staring at the floor. You think I don't feel that too? You come home exhausted, and I'm here all day trying to keep things together. I just wanted to feel needed. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The tension that had filled the house all week started to shift into something else. A heavy sadness. Then she said something that made my stomach twist. When you said we should take time apart, I thought you meant it. I thought I'd come home to find your things gone. I shook my head immediately. No, I just needed space, not distance. She let out a shaky laugh, half relief, half disbelief. Space, distance. I don't even know the difference anymore. And that's when I realized we weren't fighting about chores or time off. We were fighting about connection. How easily it had slipped between us while we were both too busy surviving. I reached out, placed my hand on hers, and said, maybe we both forgot what it means to actually rest. You try to control things because you're scared they'll fall apart. I shut down because I'm scared I'll never get to breathe. Her eyes softened, and for the first time in days, she didn't look like my opponent. She looked like my partner again. So what do we do now? She asked. I hesitated. I didn't have a real answer yet, but I knew one thing: pretending everything was fine had gotten us here. So I said, we stop pretending. We talk, we rebuild. But not today. We just rest. She nodded slowly, wiping a tear. Then, without another word, she sat beside me on the couch. For the first time that week, the silence between us wasn't painful. It was peaceful. Outside, the evening light faded into darkness, and the hum of the city felt distant, almost forgiving. But deep down, I knew this wasn't over. Because when two people stop running from their problems, that's when the real work begins. And I had no idea what tomorrow would bring. The next morning, sunlight poured through the curtains, soft, almost hesitant. Like the house itself wasn't sure if peace was real this time. We didn't talk much. She made coffee, I made breakfast. Small things, quiet things. But somehow, it felt like a start. Later that day, we sat down and talked, really talked. For the first time in what felt like years. Not about chores, not about schedules, but about how exhausted we both were. How we'd been living on autopilot. Trying to be everything for each other without realizing we were both running on empty. She admitted she'd been scared that if I ever truly got time alone, I'd realize I didn't want to be with her. I admitted that sometimes I felt like I was losing myself just to keep the peace. And in that moment, something changed. Not everything was fixed, not even close, but the truth was finally on the table. That night, as we sat outside watching the sun dip behind the trees, she quietly said, maybe next time we plan a staycation together, but on our own terms. I smiled. Maybe next time we actually rest. We laughed, tired, fragile laughter, but it felt real. Sometimes it's not about fixing everything at once. It's about realizing what broke in the first place and choosing to rebuild, even when it's hard. And for me, that's where this story ends. Not in perfection, but in progress. Thanks for listening to this relationship_advice story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories like this, where real people face real emotions and sometimes find a little redemption along the way.